From the Anthony family the night before, they're scheduled to visit Kaylee in jail.
We've been at the home all day and night and got a pretty gripping interview from Cindy Anthony, the grandmother. First on Fox, Melissa DePonte shares that with you.
There were a couple of times where it looks like Casey had made a flurry of calls, some to you on your cell phone, some to you at your office, some to George on his cell phone, and that those could provide.
Well, those phones records have been going over. I mean, the Sheriff's Department had her access to her phone the 15th, the night of the 15th, and they've had control of her phone records since then. So I know they're looking into all of those phone calls. We just recently got copies of those records. So, I mean, as a family, we've been looking at those phone records and trying to make sense of them.
Do you have any idea why she was so frantic that she kept calling you and George and you and George and you and George that day?
Actually, there's only one phone call to George. Me a couple different times during a course of an hour and a half span, which was our typical time to reach out to each other anyway. You know, if I knew what the nature of those were, it might, you know, lead me to Kaylee right this minute. Do I make sense of it? I can make sense of a lot of it, but can I discuss it? I really can't. You know, because again, that's still part of the investigation.
Yesterday, George had talked to some other people about that he is positive that this was a kidnapping. What is leading you guys to believe that?
Well, because Casey doesn't have her, and Casey didn't do anything to her, so it only points to someone else having her. And, you know, a lot of things that we've looked at, a lot of things that we've run through in our mind, that's the only other rational thing.
Meanwhile, your questions continue to come into myfoxorlando.com about Cindy's daughter, Casey. Tonight, we are answering more on two people Casey says knows the mysterious babysitter, Zenaida Gonzalez. Now, remember, Casey claims she took little Kaylee. Lauren asks, has anyone been able to confirm the existence of Jeff Hopkins and Juliette Lewis? Now, you'll recall last week the Orange County Sheriff's Office released this search warrant to us. Now, Casey said she worked with Hopkins and Lewis at Universal, but the search warrant says Universal fired Hopkins 4 years before Casey lost her job there. Investigators couldn't find any record of a Juliette Lewis ever working at Universal. Now, they also say Zenaida Gonzalez never worked there either. In fact, the search warrant makes it pretty clear